They called my 12-year-old a cheater. Not as a rumor, not as a private concern. My mother posted it in the school parent group with my daughter's full name, a sermon about integrity, and a comment section that turned into a public execution. And I was only gone for 4 days. 4 days. One small suitcase. One contract to sign out of town. And my mom's sweet offer, spoken like a blessing. "Let Olivia stay with us," she said. Family. Family. In my house, that word always came with fine print. When I pulled into my parents' driveway, everything looked normal. The porch light glowing, the lawn trimmed, curtains drawn tight like the house was holding its breath. My mom opened the door with her perfect smile. "Jessica," she chirped. "You're home." My father, Mark, stood behind her with the TV remote in his hand and nodded like I was the mail. Then Olivia stepped into view. 12 years old, debate club hoodie, backpack straps wrapped around her fists. She didn't run to me, didn't talk, didn't ask about the airport souvenir I promised. She just stood there, eyes down. My stomach clenched. "Hey, baby," I said, forcing my voice light. "I missed you." She hugged me back, but it was stiff like she was hugging someone at a funeral. My mom patted my arm. "She's tired," she said. "At our house, we keep structure." This wasn't tired. It was fear trying to look obedient. "Thank you for watching her," I said, because I'd been trained to say thank you before I even knew what I was thanking them for. "Of course," my mom replied. "Family takes care of family," my dad added. "Drive safe," and that was it. No updates, no warning, no something happened. I got Olivia into the car. The doors shut and it felt like the world got smaller, safer. Olivia sat upright, eyes fixed on the window, like she was waiting to be questioned. I started driving. "So, how was it?" "Fine. Flat. Practiced." "Did you sleep okay?" "Yeah." "Did you have fun?" "Yeah." 3 answers, all the same length, all the same dead tone. My throat tightened. "Olivia," I said softly. "Talk to me." Silence. I tried a normal topic like a rope. "How's debate club? You were excited about regionals." Her fingers tightened on the strap. "I'm not in it anymore." My heart slammed. "What do you mean?" "They kicked me out." "Why would they?" I stopped myself, lowered my voice. "Sweetheart, why?" She didn't answer. The road ahead looked ordinary, which made the panic inside me feel even louder. "You can tell me," I said. "I'm right here." She swallowed. "Grandma told everyone I cheated." My skin went cold. "What?" Olivia pulled out her phone with shaking fingers and held it toward me. At a red light, I glanced down. School parent group. My mother's name. A post titled, "A Reminder About Integrity in Academic Competition." She wrote like a judge, not a worried grandmother. She said Olivia stole arguments, copied material, and took advantage of a trusting teacher. She said we were handling it, but the school needed to know to protect fairness. No, maybe. No, I'm concerned. Just certainty. Comments stacked underneath. "Kids like that always escalate. Thank you for warning us." Cheaters become liars. If her mom defends this, she's part of it. The light turned green. My hands shook on the wheel. Olivia's voice came out fast. "I didn't do it. I didn't steal anything. I won." I forced air into my lungs. "You won what?" "The qualifier," she whispered. "I got picked to represent the school at state. We beat Ava's team. Ava, my sister, Lauren's daughter, the new family favorite." Everything clicked into place with a sickening snap. Olivia won. Ava lost. And in our family, the wrong kid wasn't allowed to shine. "What happened at Grandma's?" I asked, voice low. Olivia blinked hard. "She made me write an apology letter," she said. I asked what for, and she said, "For embarrassing Ava." Rage burned behind my ribs. "She told me if I didn't admit I cheated, she'd call the advisor and say I have an ethics problem," Olivia added. "She said it was better if the school heard it from her." We got home. Olivia went straight to her room. I made dinner because I didn't know what else to do with my hands. At the table, she barely ate. Finally, I set my fork down. Tell me everything. Olivia's face crumpled. Tears spilled like they'd been held back with both fists. She told the advisor. She sobbed. And the advisor told the principal. And now everyone looks at me like I'm dangerous. I pulled her into my arms and felt her shake. And inside me, panic hardened into one clean decision. I wasn't going to talk it out as family. I was going to do the one thing my mother hated most. I was going to put it in writing. That night, after she finally fell asleep, I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the glow of my laptop. My mother's post kept replaying in my mind, not just the words but the confidence. The way she knew the town would believe her before they believed a child, because that was the pattern. Growing up, my sister Lauren could trip over her own feet, and my mom would call it spirited. I could breathe too loudly, and it was attitude. Lauren got celebrated. I got corrected. Olivia wasn't built to be small. She was curious, sharp, fearless on a stage. And in 4 days, my parents had tried to fold her into the shape they preferred. I opened a new email draft. My cursor blinked like a heartbeat. To the school. Request for evidence. Request for the basis of her removal. Request for an official meeting. Then I opened a second draft, and my hands stopped shaking. There was one person my mother avoided whenever paperwork came up. Denise Hart, the attorney who handled my grandfather's affairs before he died. 2 years ago, when I asked if I needed to sign anything, my mom waved it off. Everything's handled. Handled, controlled, hidden. I typed one sentence to Denise. I need to confirm whether my daughter has an education fund or trust, and who is managing it. I hit send. The air in my chest loosened. If my mother wanted to teach my daughter a lesson, the lesson was about to go both ways. By morning, I had screenshots, and I emailed the school before my coffee cooled. Subject: Formal request for documentation. Olivia Harper. I didn't plead. I didn't rant. I asked for records. All allegations submitted about Olivia. Any evidence supporting claims of cheating. The written reason for her removal from debate club. A meeting with administration and, if applicable, the school's legal counsel. I hit send and watched my hands stop shaking. Paper made me calm. Paper didn't care how charming my mother was at PTA. Olivia sat at the kitchen counter with her hoodie pulled up, staring at the same spot on the wall. When my phone buzzed, she flinched. Hey, I said gently. You don't have to check anything today, okay? Let me hold the ugly stuff. She nodded without looking up. They hate me, she whispered. They don't know you, I said. They know a story, and stories can be corrected. Around noon, the first reply came from the assistant principal. Polite, carefully vague. They had received concerns. They were reviewing. They would schedule a meeting. No mention of evidence. No denial of my mother's influence. Just professional fog. Then, at 1:17 p.m., Denise Hart replied. Her email was 3 lines, and it hit harder than anything the school had said. Yes, there is an education fund for Olivia. Your parents are listed as fiduciaries. Please come in today. This should not wait. I reread it twice, like the words might change. Fiduciaries. Listed. Parents. 2 years ago, after my grandfather died, I'd asked my mom if there was paperwork. She'd waved me off like I was a nuisance. Everything's handled, she'd said. Handled meant you don't ask questions. I called Denise immediately. She answered on the second ring, voice calm in the way calm people get after they've seen too much. Jessica, she said, not surprised to hear from me. Can you be here at 3? I'll be there, I said, and my voice sounded steady even though my stomach was turning. Olivia looked up. Where are we going? I hesitated for half a second, then made the choice I wished someone had made for me at 12. To see someone who can help, I said, and you're coming with me. Not because you did anything wrong, because you deserve to watch adults take you seriously. At Denise's office, Olivia sat in the waiting room chair with her knees pressed together and her hands folded, like taking up space was dangerous. Denise came out and greeted her first. Olivia, she said, offering a handshake like my daughter was a person, not a problem. I'm glad you're here. Olivia blinked, surprised by respect. Denise's office smelled like paper and lemon cleaner. No family photos, no forced warmth, just tidy stacks and quiet confidence. I told her everything. The trip, the grandparents, the apology letter, the post, the removal from club. Olivia filled in the parts I couldn't stand to imagine: how Grandma stood over her while she wrote, how Grandpa watched the TV like nothing mattered, how my mother said, "Admit it and it goes away," and then made sure it didn't go away. Denise listened without interrupting. When I finished, she nodded once. Accusing a child of academic dishonesty and distributing that accusation through school channels is defamation risk, she said, and it's a liability issue for the school if they act without evidence. Olivia's eyes widened at the word liability, like it was a shield she didn't know existed. Denise turned to me. "Now," she said, "the fund." She opened a folder and slid a document toward me. The top line made my vision sharpen. Education Fund Beneficiary, Olivia Harper. My mouth went dry. "This is real." "It's real," Denise said. "Your grandfather established it 2 years ago. He wanted annual distributions for academic programs, camps, competition fees, things like debate." My hands curled into fists. "We've never received anything." Denise's gaze didn't soften. "You haven't, because the distributions have been requested and used." "Used by who?" I asked, though my body already knew. "Your parents have signing authority," she said. "They've been making withdrawals as program expenses." Olivia stared at the folder like it was a trapdoor under her feet. "And there's a clause," Denise continued. "A morality provision. If the beneficiary is found to have engaged in serious dishonesty, cheating, fraud, annual support can be suspended and redirected to the guardian controlling the fund." My throat closed. Redirected to them. Denise didn't say yes. She didn't have to. In my head, my mother's voice echoed. Respect, consequences, lessons. It had never been about humility. It had been about control. Olivia's voice came out small. "So, Grandma wanted everyone to think I cheated so she could take my money?" I reached for her hand. "She wanted power," I said. "Money is just one way to keep it." Denise leaned forward. "We do 2 things," she said. "First, we demand accounting and receipts for every withdrawal. Second, we send a cease and desist regarding false statements about Olivia." I nodded, every muscle in my body vibrating with purpose. "Do it." When we left, Olivia held my hand tighter than she had in months. In the car, she whispered, "Are we in trouble?" "No," I said. "We're finally not alone." That evening, my mom called as if she could feel paperwork moving through the world. Her voice was syrupy. "Jessica, why is the school emailing me?" I kept my tone flat. "Because you put my daughter on trial in public." "She needed a lesson," my mom said. "She can't humiliate Ava and expect applause." "She didn't humiliate Ava," I said. "She won." A pause, then the sharp edge. "Winning without character is cheating." I stared at my kitchen wall, amazed at how easily she rewrote reality. "Answer Denise," I said, "and take down the post." My father's voice cut in, irritated. "Don't threaten us with lawyers." "I'm not threatening you," I said. "I'm documenting you." My mom exhaled like I was exhausting. "If you do this, you're choosing war over family." I looked at Olivia across the room, wrapped in a blanket, eyes swollen but steady. "You chose war," I said quietly. "You just thought a child wouldn't fight back." I hung up. And in the silence after, I realized something else. My mother's post was only the opening move. The next move would come from Ava. And I had a feeling she wouldn't be as comfortable with the lie. Small towns don't need facts. They need a villain. By the next morning, my mother's post had escaped the parent group and migrated into the wider internet like mold. Someone reposted it with a caption about kids today. Someone else added, "And the mom is threatening lawsuits." My daughter's name became a cautionary tale. Olivia came into the kitchen holding her phone like it was burning her hand. Her face was blank in the way kids get when they've cried too much to cry again. "Mom," she said, They made a new thread. I took the phone and scrolled. A neighborhood page. A screenshot of my mother's post. Then comments like nails. Keep that girl away from your backpacks. Cheaters become thieves. Her mother is raising a monster. Discipline used to mean something. Under it, someone had tagged the debate advisor's name. Someone asked if Olivia was still allowed in class, as if she carried a contagious disease. Olivia's voice shook. They think it's true. I know, I said, and my tone stayed steady even while my vision blurred with rage. That doesn't make it true. She inhaled sharply. Sophie blocked me, she said. And the team chat, they called me Google Queen. I pulled her into a hug and felt her shoulders tremble once, then go rigid, like she didn't trust comfort anymore. We're not going to answer them online, I said. We're going to answer them with proof. That afternoon, the school finally offered a meeting 2 days out. 2 days felt like a lifetime when your kid was being publicly shredded, but I took it. I wanted the paper trail, the formal process, the lines they couldn't later deny. Meanwhile, Denise and I worked. She drafted a letter to my parents demanding accounting for the education fund. Another letter to my mother, ordering her to stop spreading unverified accusations about a minor. She also advised me to keep Olivia home until the meeting. Not as punishment, Denise said. As protection. Olivia heard the word protection, and her shoulders dropped a fraction, like her body recognized safety even if her mind couldn't. That night, a message popped up on Olivia's phone. Ava, can we talk? Olivia stared at the screen like she was watching a snake move under glass. Then another message. I didn't mean for it to get this big. Then, please, just us. Olivia looked at me, eyes flat and watery at the same time. What do I do? We don't do anything alone, I said. If she wants to talk, it's where I can see you. The next day, I had to pick up Olivia's assignments from school. We walked into the front office like we were entering a courtroom. The receptionist's smile didn't reach her eyes. Olivia kept her hood up, and there, near the hallway, was Ava waiting like she'd planned it. She looked different without her audience. Paler, smaller. Her hands kept twisting the strap of her bag. She approached Olivia cautiously. Can we talk? She asked, voice low. Olivia nodded once. Ava's eyes slid to me. Alone? No, I said, calm and final. Where I can see you. Ava hesitated, then nodded, jaw tight. They walked to the glass doors near the entrance, still in my line of sight but out of earshot. I watched them the way you watch a storm line, waiting for the first crack of lightning. They spoke for maybe 2 minutes. Ava's mouth moved fast. Olivia barely responded. Then Olivia turned and walked back to me with a strange expression, wide-eyed, stunned, like the world had shifted while she stood still. She said it, Olivia whispered. Said what? Olivia swallowed hard. She admitted it. My heart kicked. Admitted what? Olivia pulled out her phone. I recorded it, she said quickly, like she expected me to be mad. I pressed record because nobody believes me. My throat tightened with pride and grief at the same time. Okay, I said. Let's go home. At the kitchen table, Olivia set the phone between us. Her finger hovered, trembling, then hit play. Ava's voice filled the room. Not dramatic, not rehearsed, just scared. I didn't steal your arguments, she said. I lost fair. I panicked. A pause. Breathing. I told Grandma you cheated, Ava continued, voice cracking. I said you copied a source I saw online. I didn't think she'd... Another pause, and then the part that made my blood turn to ice. Grandma told me not to fix it, Ava said. She said it was already done and it would teach you respect. She said you needed consequences, and that the adults would handle it. Olivia made a small sound, half sob, half gasp. Ava kept going. I found my notes later. They were in my binder. I'm sorry. Everyone hates you and it's my fault. The recording ended. Olivia stared at the phone like it was proof and betrayal in one object. So they knew, she whispered. They knew it was a lie. Yes, I said, voice tight. They knew. For a minute, neither of us moved. Then Olivia spoke, barely audible. What if they still don't believe me? I reached across the table and covered her hand. Then they'll have to argue with a recording, I said, and lawyers, and school administrators, and their own embarrassment. She blinked, and the first real anger I'd seen in days flashed in her eyes. She ruined me, Olivia said, and for the first time it didn't sound like a child pleading. It sounded like a person naming harm. Denise called that evening to confirm she'd received my screenshots of the online posts. Good, she said. We add it. Do not respond publicly. I won't, I said. But I have something else. I emailed her the audio file. I watched the send bar crawl across the screen and felt a strange calm settle over me, because now it wasn't my word against my mother's. It was the truth, recorded in a hallway. And in 48 hours, I was going to play it in a room full of adults who suddenly had a reason to listen. The school meeting happened on a Thursday morning. Olivia wore a plain sweater and jeans. She looked 12, but her posture looked older. We sat across from the assistant principal, the debate advisor, and a counselor who kept saying, "We understand," in the same tone you use when you don't understand at all. A laptop sat open beside them, ready to take notes that could become a shield later. I placed 3 things on the table: printed screenshots of my mother's post, the school's notice removing Olivia from debate club, and a copy of Denise's letterhead with her name in bold. The assistant principal's eyes flicked to the attorney's name, and the room shifted, just more careful. "Mrs. Harper," he began, "we received a report. A public allegation," I corrected, "from my mother, with no evidence, before you made a decision that harmed a child." He swallowed. "We acted out of caution." "Caution requires facts," I said. "What evidence do you have?" The advisor glanced down. "We were told Olivia copied an argument from a prior competition." "Told by whom?" I asked. A pause. "My mother," the advisor admitted. "Did you verify it?" I asked. Another pause. "Did you compare transcripts?" I pressed. "Did you ask Olivia? Did you ask the judges? Did you ask the tournament organizers?" The assistant principal leaned back slightly, hands folded. "We intended to. But you removed her first," I said. "You punished her first." Olivia's fingers tightened around the hem of her sweater. I covered her hand under the table. "May I share something?" I asked. He nodded, already resigned. I played the recording. The room went still. No one spoke. No one interrupted. Ava's voice filled the office, panicked, guilty, unmistakably real. When the line came, "Grandma told me not to fix it. It would teach you respect," the counselor's eyes widened. When it ended, the assistant principal didn't look at Olivia. He reached for a notepad, wrote something, and slid the page into a folder. "We'll need a copy of that," he said. "Not, if you don't mind. Not, can we. Just, we will." Within 15 minutes, the tone changed from concerns to process. They asked for the file. They asked for names. They asked how many days Olivia had been removed. They asked what had been posted online. Embarrassment is a powerful policy tool. Before we left, the assistant principal cleared his throat. "Olivia's status in the debate club will be reinstated immediately," he said. "We will also issue a statement to relevant staff that there is no finding of misconduct. No apology, but the correction mattered." In the hallway, Olivia let out a breath like she'd been holding it since I left for my work trip. "So, they believe me now?" "They believe the risk," I said, which is close enough to start. That afternoon, Denise called me with the other half of the earthquake. "I received the fund accounting," she said. "Your parents responded after the demand." "And?" My stomach twisted. "There have been withdrawals," she said carefully, totaling $12,400 over the last 2 years. Olivia was at the kitchen table doing homework like it was a survival skill. She looked up when she heard my voice shift. Denise continued, "The withdrawals are labeled as academic expenses, competition fees, equipment, skill training, but the payees do not match." I closed my eyes. What do they match? A furniture store, Denise said. A resort. A spa package billed under your mother's name. My hands went numb. And the clause? I asked, though I already knew what she'd say. It's there, Denise replied. If Olivia is formally found to have cheated or committed a serious ethical violation, annual support can be suspended and redirected to the guardian controlling the fund. Which is my mother, I whispered. Yes, Denise said. So the cheating narrative wasn't random. It's consistent with financial motive. I stared at Olivia, 12 years old, pencil in hand, trying to act normal while adults tried to rewrite her identity. Next step? I asked. We demand repayment and removal of your parents' fiduciary control, Denise said. And we do it formally. 2 days later, we had another meeting, this time not at school, but in a conference room at Denise's office. My parents arrived dressed like they were attending a charity gala, my mother in a pale cardigan and pearls, my father in his respectable jacket. Lauren came too. My mother's smile was sweet enough to rot teeth. We're just worried about integrity, she said, folding her hands. These competitions get very tempting for children. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I placed 3 documents on the table. First, the school's written confirmation that there was no evidence of cheating, and Olivia was reinstated. Second, the tournament organizer's note, forwarded by the school after the correction, confirming Olivia's win was legitimate. Third, the fund statement with highlighted transactions, $12,400 plus the payment receipts showing my mother's name. The color drained from my mother's face. It happened slowly, like someone turning down a dimmer switch. Lauren leaned forward, eyes narrowing at the highlighted lines. Mom, she said, voice sharp, why is your name on a spa charge marked academic support? My father's jaw clenched. Those are reimbursements, he snapped. We've spent money on the kids. Denise's voice came through the speakerphone, calm as a scalpel. The beneficiary is Olivia, she said. Not you, not your household, not reimbursements for your lifestyle. My mother's lips parted. It was temporary, she stammered. We intended to. To what? I asked, finally letting the anger show. To pay it back after Olivia's reputation was ruined enough to justify cutting her off? My mother's eyes flashed. You're twisting this. No, I said. You twisted my child. The room fell silent, and for the first time in my life, silence didn't belong to my mother. Denise spoke again. The fund will be placed under Jessica Harper's control. Your parents will be required to repay the misused amount. If they refuse, we pursue legal remedies. My father's face went hard. My mother's smile collapsed completely. Lauren sat back, stunned, as if she'd never considered that family could have paperwork attached. As my parents stood to leave, my mother leaned close to me and hissed, You're destroying this family. I met her eyes. You did, I said. I'm just filing it. And I knew walking them out that consequences were finally starting. But I also knew my mother wouldn't accept losing quietly. The real fallout was still coming. My mother tried to outrun paper with noise. The day after Denise's meeting, she posted again, this time a tearful paragraph about being attacked, about ungrateful children, about how the world punishes elders who care. She didn't mention the fund. She didn't mention the receipts. She just wanted the town to see her as a victim before anyone asked questions. But Denise's letters didn't live on social media. They lived in offices. Within a week, the school sent a formal email to relevant parents. Olivia had been reinstated, and there was no finding of academic misconduct. They did it in careful language, no names beyond my daughters, no explicit blame, but the message was clear enough that people could read between the lines. The parent group administrators removed my mother's post. Then they suspended her account for violating rules about naming minors. Watching that happen felt like watching a dam crack. Quiet, unstoppable. Olivia returned to school on Monday. She walked through the front doors like someone stepping onto ice, expecting it to break. Kids stared. Some looked away. A few whispered. But the loud cruelty softened into awkwardness once teachers stopped treating her like a risk. 2 girls from her club approached her at lunch. They didn't apologize well. 12-year-olds rarely do, but they offered their seats and said, "We didn't know. It wasn't a fix. It was a beginning." The real change came at debate practice that week. The advisor pulled Olivia aside, voice tight with discomfort, and said, "I'm sorry we acted without verification." It was the closest thing to an apology she could manage, and Olivia nodded like she'd just been handed air after nearly drowning. Ava didn't come back to practice. Lauren called me 3 times before I answered. When I finally did, her voice sounded raw, like she'd been forced to see her mother in a mirror. "I didn't know about the fund," she said. "I swear, I didn't know she used Olivia's money." "I believe you," I said, and I meant it. "But you also didn't question why Olivia got punished and Ava got protected." Lauren went quiet. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing," I said. "I want you to want better for your kid than this." 2 days later, I heard Ava was transferring schools. No announcement, no goodbye, just a quiet exit. In this town, leaving is how people apologize without saying sorry. Meanwhile, the fund moved quickly. Denise filed the paperwork to remove my parents as fiduciaries. Because the fund was created to support Olivia's education, the misuse was treated like what it was: breach of duty. Denise didn't threaten loudly. She threatened correctly. My parents were ordered to repay the $12,400. Not when convenient. Not over time, maybe. Repay. They didn't have it. My father called me, voice rough. "This is going to ruin us," he said. Like my daughter hadn't already been dragged through ruin for sport. "You should have thought of that before you spent Olivia's money at a spa," I replied. My mother tried a different tactic. She showed up at my house with tears and a casserole, the classic weapon of a woman who thinks food can erase harm. "I was trying to help," she sobbed. "You know I was." Olivia stood behind me in the hallway, small but steady. My mother's eyes flicked to her, searching for softness. Olivia didn't move. I didn't take the casserole. "You were trying to control," I said. "And you used my child as leverage." My mother's mouth opened, then closed. She had no script for a daughter who didn't fold. She left the dish on my porch anyway, like leaving evidence of good intentions mattered. Denise's pressure didn't stop. She requested receipts for every academic charge. When my parents couldn't justify them, they had to liquidate. They sold my grandmother's old jewelry. They refinanced. They argued. They blamed each other. Eventually, they sold the house, the same house where my mother taught obedience like it was a sacrament. They moved into a rental on the edge of town. Smaller, quiet, anonymous. The kind of place my mother used to call temporary when other people lived there. The repayment went back into the fund. The fiduciary control transferred to me. For the first time, I had access to the account created for my daughter's future, and the strange, bitter knowledge that my mother had seen it as her own. When the gossip shifted, it shifted fast. Not with apologies, but with avoidance. Invitations stopped arriving. My parents' church friends suddenly had other plans. People who had loved condemning a child became too busy to discuss the adult who'd lied. My mother tried to call. I didn't answer. My father texted. I didn't reply. No final speech, no grand confrontation, just silence where entitlement used to live. Olivia didn't celebrate. She didn't dance around the kitchen like a movie ending. She just exhaled, slowly, and began to take up space again. Some days she still flinched when her phone buzzed. Some hallways at school felt longer than they should, but she went back to practice. She laughed again, cautiously at first, then louder. She started writing new cases, new arguments, like reclaiming her voice one paragraph at a time. One night, weeks later, she sat on my bed and asked in a hoarse whisper, "Am I a bad person because I won?" I pulled her close. "No," I said. "You're good at something. And some people can't stand that." She stared at the blanket, then said the sentence that broke me clean in half. "I thought you'd believe me," she admitted, "but I was scared you wouldn't." I kissed her forehead. I don't just believe you, I said. I'll prove it. Every time. And that was the real win. Not the fund, not the meetings, not the paperwork. A child learning that truth can be defended. So tell me, did I go too far with the emails and lawyers, or not far enough? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want more stories where the tables turn and the receipts do the talking, hit subscribe.